friends. Today we're going to talk about the secession fever and can secession really work in America? All right. First of all, why would we want to secede? And secession comes when people feel that they are no longer able to effect change from within the current system. And I'm afraid that's about where we are, because it's pretty obvious we are under one-party rule, and we'll just say that the voting system is dodgy at best and dubious. So it really makes you think that, like I said, the one-party system is really controlling everything, and the people do not have a voice. And of course, if there are 2 or 3 people who are speaking up for the people in the Congress or Senate, they are determined to expel them. So basically we have, like I said, an array of oligarchs who want to hand down dictatorial edicts and do not want any input or any fuss from the public. And this is a problem, because that is not how the American government is supposed to work. However, whatever the politicians can get away with, they will do. So basically, in this case, the next step, the reason the next step is secession, is because that is the next, peaceful option to trying to vote your way out of things. And the reason why we do secession is because you need to confront the powers that be from a position of power, a position of equality. And if you are just a peon under their boot, you're not going to get very far. You're not just going to say, pretty please, lower our taxes or something. They're just going to laugh in your face. But when states or counties secede, then you are confronting them as an equal power. You're not, but you are approaching them on an equal footing. You're like you're approaching them. They're the president of their country. Well, you're the president of your country. You're approaching them from a position of power, and that has to happen because right now they just are trampling on the people. So the first reason you do it, because you want to, it's an attempt at peace. It's an attempt at a peaceful divorce. Peaceful divorce for one. And 2, you want to confront these tyrants from a position of power. So you hold some cards too, and they just don't hold all the cards. I saw Dr. Steve Turley reported the other day that 2 counties in Oregon were attempting to secede. And he said they only missed the vote by a very tiny margin. And I said, I would imagine that if things get worse and, our freedoms keep getting trampled upon, that there's going to be quite a bit of secession fever out there. I looked up, there was like 3,000 counties, and Biden won around 500 out of the 3,000. So that's interesting. So we could be seeing a pretty big swath. We can be seeing, in the next 4 years, I think we might be seeing the map of America just getting very, very messy. Now, here's the first thing. And I would say that, yes, it does seem that the secession is going to be city versus rural. And that will be very interesting to see, because obviously you look at these maps, there's so much red in the rural, and they're just not going to put up with the big cities' stupid ideas. I even think they should outlaw cities. You should have to have only so many people per square, per mile or something. There should be a law, because these city dwellers are just incredibly stupid about how life works, and they want to try to control everybody and run the countries into the ground, and their streets are running with poop and garbage, so they're obviously not doing anything good. So city dwellers are a huge problem, and absolutely they should have their own country or their own state to trash. Now, so that's how it's going to break up, cities versus countries. And I said it's not going to be state by state or even half states by half states, because wherever these big blue cities are with the nutty ideas, that is where the red counties are going to leave. And so first of all, Dr. Turley was saying that these counties in Oregon want to join Idaho. And I said, well, no, what about the counties that are landlocked? What are the landlocked counties going to do? And I was going to say, here's probably what. I imagine there will be coalitions of counties, chunks of the red counties will band together to form their own states. So essentially, the country as we know it now will probably break up into a multitude of smaller states. It won't be just counties joining other states. It will be chunks of counties within a state forming their own state, and whereas these massive, stupid cities will be cut loose on their own, and their poor management skills will certainly land them in poverty very quickly. So those are a couple of ways of how this could play out. Counties could join other states, or counties could get together to form their own states. Now, this is probably better than trying to start your own country. Because, first of all, I said if the people haven't had the courage to defend America as it is, then how would they have the strength and the resources to form their own independent country? Because that could be significantly difficult. But maybe we could look at it as the secessionist movement might be a prelude to the new country, but that is predicating on the handful of political oligarchs being able to hang on to their titles, the power and the titles, because if a significant portion, even if the country would break up or secede, the Washington, D.C. oligarchs could still rule Washington, D.C., and maybe there'd be a few other big cities across the nation who would take orders from them, but that'll make things difficult. So I would say the county secessions is a dress rehearsal for if things would get worse. But by separating the states, I believe the counties feel they can save themselves. We're trying to save freedom, do damage control at this point. And I don't blame anybody. Nobody wants to be sucked into the abyss of communism and socialism. And so this is definitely the first step. And I said as things get worse, we'll see more counties taking action, I'm sure. More counties and towns. And I guess this is a chance for people to start being more independent, start planning, and being resourceful. And rightly so, because after all, these left-wingers, all they want to do is party, waste money, break the law, and at the end of the day, just kick the can of responsibility down to the next generation. They're just very badly raised. There just really needs to be a standard for training good citizens, because these people are awful citizens. These leftists, they are the worst American citizens ever. But so can the secessions work? I believe they could. And starting off as just forming other states would be, I said, a dress rehearsal if they had to go completely in a new country. Maybe we'll end up as like Europe. And that'll be kind of messy, though, because this is a big country. So, Europe has, so many countries, but the United States is a lot bigger. So just imagine if the United States, changes their map significantly and splits up into, my goodness, I would say there are probably more than 50 countries. I'd say like 100. And so that will cause a lot of changes and a lot of difficulties, but I'm glad to see that people are making a stand. Of course, the people in Oregon have been dealing with the riots and the worst of everything all summer, so this isn't just because of the January 6th thing. It goes deeper than that. I said everybody, I believe, is still kind of shell-shocked about what is going on. They're still in the twilight zone. So people are still trying to figure out what to do, how to function. It's no mystery that America needs to hit the reset button and totally start over and be tough again, get up their pioneer spirit, because we pretty much have to confront redoing, resetting every institution, every cultural institution, every bit of structure. But as I said before, we need to build, to shore up our country with, steel girders and beams and cement blocks before we take out the dead wood that is the left-wing culture. Because we need the country to stand and not collapse. So, coming to this, I said we're in for a wild ride, and I said the map of America I probably will be unrecognizable at the end of 4 years. We're going through a seismic shift in everything. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. But keep the faith. Like I said, we're awfully glad to see how many people have been standing up and protesting, and even around the world, all the well wishes and encouragement. It's been really amazing. So and we hoped it would be, we could vote our way out of the situation, but that is not quite, I guess that's not the best plan. We know the Lord knows best, and we'll get a better system, I guess, if we have to go this other route. But, yes, this way the people have to be more involved, more awake, more concerned, and more active in our culture. And we just cannot, set freedom on autopilot. Freedom is not passive, it's active. And, like I said, the power vacuum has been filled by some bad actors. And we must be sure to keep strong. We need to have strong convictions. We can't have cowardice. You can't, like I said, America's home of the brave for a reason, and brave means you stand up for what you believe in and fight for your values, and not just sit around and give in and be cowardly. And that's what has been happening, and that's what we must stop. So the secession can work. Like I said, major movements can work only if we have enough support and enough organization. I, for one, will be thinking things through and thinking, where did America go wrong and how we can fix it. And I said people have been unwilling to think outside of the box for years. They've just been, oh, well, yeah, let's go to our action movie and we go out to a restaurant and we just don't care about our country. It sounds like the Caligula plan. Give them bread and circuses and they won't revolt. They won't even know their freedom's being stolen. However, we now know our freedom is being stolen, and it's time to just really wake up. Like I said, I was thinking of the reforms this past summer. I mean, even last year. I mean, even when we had Trump in the White House, I'm like, looking at this system, our system, our social system, the welfare system, the whole thing, it's full of flaws, it's messed up. How the jobs work, why college students aren't be able to get jobs. The whole system is really a wreck. And these politicians didn't care because they're just kicking the can down the road. They just want a paycheck, they just want power, they just want money, and they don't care if the system works. All they care about is if they can patch the system together to keep it afloat until they finish their time in office. And that is just absolutely wrong. You need to be looking at the system, thinking, what can be improved? How can we make the country better? Instead, they're thinking of how can we make the people more dependent, more socialist, how can we fail better? And like I said, there are lots of reasons why we are at this point. People just were not thinking out of the box. But now, all that is changing. We are going to think out of the box, and we are going to just fix the glaring problems that this country has amassed over the last 200 years. The glaring problems that nobody wanted to talk about and nobody wanted to fix. Well, that is on the agenda. So take heart, have faith, and just like I said, everybody is standing up. We'd be in worse condition if everybody wasn't standing up and speaking up and taking action, and that is amazing. So even little voices like me, who is way in the back, coming up, we need to keep on fighting, praying, trusting, and working. So, all right. Take care, everybody. Don't get too depressed. God is on his throne, and God is in control. Let freedom ring.